Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back with your daily crypto news and analysis. And today we are going to be talking about Ripple and XRP as well as the vast majority of crypto and finance. And I figured I would start off this video with this video actually from Ripple's James Wallace. I told you guys to keep a close eye on this individual as he is the leader behind CBDCs within Ripple. And also remember what I've been saying about CBDCs, like we are hearing this from the IMF, the World Economic Forum, every single major institution out there. Like, we are seeing this becoming a major reality, and it's here, it's happening, it's now, it's inevitable, and we need to focus on this. So as we do look at this, we do see CBDC is likely to be implemented in pretty much every country around the world, says Ripple's James Wallace. It's coming. There's going to be some great advantages to it, great use cases that people will benefit from. Listen closely.
Immediate reaction is, I think there's some more education needed in the marketplace. I think there's a lot of discussion around a CBDC, what it is, what it isn't. You know, is it the government going to be spying on citizens? All this kind of thing. So I think there's a education required. At the end of the day, you know, I think the federal government, trumps state governments in this. But I think really, I don't think the citizens have anything to be concerned about. You know, CBDC is a digital representation of fiat currency. It's likely to get implemented in pretty much every country around the world. It's coming. There are going to be some great advantages to it, great use cases that will, people will get benefit from. So I see news like that. I think, okay, well, this will probably disappear when people get a bit smarter, a bit more educated about what's really going to happen. Immediate reaction.
And, I do believe that there is a lot of, misconception around CBDCs. I still have my concerns. I will hold on to my concerns until they are proven to not be a major concern. But I do think that CBDCs do have benefits, and I also think that they have a lot of pros and cons tied to them, obviously. But I do think that this is happening, and I think it's now, and I think that we need to be educated on where Ripple and XRP itself, which is a digital currency outside of Ripple, really kind of pertains to this. So let's go over here real quick to this this announcement. So we do see a conversation with James Wallace on the promise and potential of digital currencies. I don't think so this was like a few days right after this. So this is from CoinDesk. This is from that overall interview, and we do see Ripple's vice president on central bank engagement and central bank digital currencies, CBDCs, James Wallace, recently joined the Thinking Crypto podcast to talk CBDCs with host Tony Edward. After first learning of Bitcoin and blockchain while leading the global payments group at IBM, James quickly became passionate about what he termed a mind-blowing amazing technology because of its ability to create a single source of truth and the ability to use a token to move value in a much more efficient way than legacy systems. Now, as we do look at Ripple, I do think that Ripple is becoming a major player around all of this, and we do see it as the leader at the helm of Ripple CBDC initiative. James is responsible for engaging, educating, and supporting central banks in their use of digital currencies. In general, he sees three core use cases that most countries are pursuing: greater domestic payments efficiency, improved cross-border payments, and expanded financial inclusion. To support these efforts, Ripple provides central banks with CBDC insights and education, a sandbox to experiment with the technology and help with both policy and legal considerations. James' focus is on real money pilots that go one step beyond proof of concepts and use Ripple CBDC solution built on the XRP ledger to mint, manage, transact, and redeem digital currencies. James and his team are working on a number of new Ripple-led CBDC projects around the world, including some in Europe. There's a little bit of an insight there. While Ripple continues to expand the well-documented work with the countries of both Bhutan and Palau, as well as Montenegro. Bhutan is a carbon negative country in the Himalayas, with high mobile phone usage but low levels of financial literacy. The country's Royal Monetary Authority is partnering with Ripple to explore a CBDC that could improve financial literacy and accelerate its use of new technologies while meeting the nation's sustainability requirements. Ripple has now completed a wholesale CBDC pilot with Bhutan's Royal Monetary Authority and is currently in the middle of a retail CBDC pilot as well. Ripple has worked closely with the Republic of Palau to outline a national stablecoin pegged to the US dollar, describing it possibly the world's first government-issued national stablecoin once it's live. James is excited about its potential for improved payments, creative use cases like promoting tourism to help boost the local economy, and its ability to coexist with any possible future US digital dollar. We do see prospects for a digital dollar as well. We see a lot of discussions around this. We actually just recently made a video with MTech and Hedera on a digital dollar. I think that there's a lot there. Ripple is working with organizations like the Digital Euro Association and Digital Pound Foundation to connect leaders on both sides of the aisle and help further digital currency initiatives around Europe and the UK. And of course, privacy. Privacy is a #1 concern. And like I said, this is why I actually like the fact that Ripple is working on CBDCs, is because I do think that they have privacy at the heart and soul of the central bank digital currency platform. Hopefully we can retain our privacy and ultimately our privacy around transactions as well. And we do see key considerations for privacy, security, and digital assets. Due to the concerns about government oversight of CBDCs and digital assets, the paper takes a look at reasons for privacy and the degrees of privacy in CBDCs. Key stakeholders in the CBDC privacy conversation, including central banks, commercial banks, and merchants. Technology's role in consumer privacy, how potential and existing regulations will impact CBDCs. Now, also, I do want everyone to understand that, as we do look at CBDCs, yes, this will give, central banks and even government entities a lot more control over money. But currently speaking, as we do look at today's society, our society is essentially controlled by currency the way it is. So I don't think that this is going to go a step beyond control, unless you are looking at, mixed agenda where they can control what you are buying and also like freezing your assets and things like that. I think that that is a big issue. Hopefully, as we do see names like Ripple working on CBDCs and actually helping these become a reality, hopefully they could help alleviate those pain points and those concerns. Like I said, like James Wallace is adamant that a lot of those concerns are, not needed. He thinks that this is very, very bullish for, digital assets and also for the efficient evolution of money itself. Now, also over here, I recorded this real quick video because this is the one that I always pertain to when I talk about XRP's use case. But I can never change the volume on Ripple's website, so it's extremely loud. But this one I actually can. So I recorded this, and just listen closely to how XRP is actually being positioned here.
By a central bank, allowing for its analysis in support of monetary policy. And the data maintains transaction privacy while still allowing for regulators to monitor for criminal activities. Finally, a Ripple-designed CBDC can provide a means to bridge disparate currencies through XRP. Its inherent interoperability can allow for connection with other central bank ledgers for efficient cross-asset and cross-border transactions.
And the key word there is other central bank ledgers, meaning it doesn't really matter what ledger technology the other central banks are utilizing, because I've said it many times, it's going to be a multi-chain future. It's not just going to be Ripple's CBDC platform that's being utilized, but I do think that a lot of the major nations are choosing Ripple's CBDC platform. For example, I think that the UK is already working with Ripple, which I will get to here in a second. But XRP bridges all of them. It does not matter. Any ledger can be bridged by XRP.
This can be done with cross-issuance, using XRP as a bridge currency or via cross-ledger communication protocols. This reduces the risk that institutions are forced to accept when transacting across multiple networks or currencies in the current system. The creation of a CBDC provides powerful benefits for the economy and people of an adopting central bank. It's technology that places trust in digital money in the hands of a central bank that can guarantee accessibility to funds and the resulting services, as is the case with cash today. The result? An improved foundation for global financial development where business...
And it's also good to note that XRP is the #1 currency that you see here, beginning in this sort of diagram. Or I shouldn't say diagram, but example. And then you also see other currencies over here as well. It's a multi-currency, obviously, world. You have different CBDCs and things like that. But XRP is at the heart of this platform to bridge other CBDCs and bridge other ledger technologies, ultimately settling any two currencies or any two things of value. And I mean anything that is tokenized of value, like XRP can settle anything.
Businesses, commercial banks, and ultimately people can unlock new economic potential. Work with Ripple to build a custom pilot designed for your country or institution today.
So yeah, I mean, Ripple wants to become the infrastructure of tomorrow. They want to become the infrastructure around CBDCs. And I think that if they are, if they really are successful on this path, then we will see them position XRP as that bridge currency. I think that XRP's main use case, outside of what Ripple is doing is also, moving money as fast as possible. So as you do have, like, XRP is it's been specifically designed for payment technology. So I think that this is the perfect use case for XRP. And I think that, again, with CBDCs, they are inevitable. I think that Ripple's take on CBDCs could very well be beneficial for the retail sector and could also alleviate a lot of those concerns. Again, I think that the concerns are healthy to have right now as things do stand, because, again, CBDCs, they're very speculative right now. I mean, all of crypto technically is speculative. I was just having this conversation the other day. I was like, technically speaking, we're all speculating on crypto becoming this, new asset class that's ultimately the crucial pieces for tomorrow's financial system. We're all speculating here. And speculation is healthy, and I even say it all the time on the channel, like, speculation is healthy to an extent, because there could be over speculation. But I do think that Ripple is becoming a leader around this space. Recently speaking, Ripple was the winner of 2 awards at the Digital Currency Awards sponsored by Currency Research. We've seen James Wallace for Digital Currency Leader of the Year, and also Ripple CBDC team for the Best Sustainability Award for Digital Currency. Also, at the same time, we did see Ripple meeting with the IMF, talking about CBDCs and how CBDCs could come to fruition, and how digital assets also play a role in CBDCs and the life cycle of CBDCs, which also gives me a lot of confidence behind, what Ripple is doing and why I believe that Ripple is a key player around this new financial system. Now, also, as we do look over here at the BIS, going all the way back to May of 2022, we did see DLT-based enhancement of cross-border payment efficiency, a legal and regulatory perspective. Now, in terms of the summary, just the main focus here, traditionally, cross-border payments have relied on a mutually trusted central entity. Distributed ledgers, blockchain, and smart contracts, together dubbed distributed ledger technologies, or DLT, could provide an alternative to that approach. However, different DLT applications in the cross-border payments context come with legal challenges. Hence, it is necessary to analyze the extent to what financial law and regulation is fit to deal with DLT-based payments. Now, as we look at this, right, everyone is focused on the SEC lawsuit. And I think that's good, to really kind of focus on that as well. But ultimately, I think that lawsuit is just one major, game. I think it's one major play, if you will. I even said, like, I think that the lawsuit technically, and I know that a lot of people are going to say, like, I'm crazy for saying this, I think that the lawsuit is actually fake. The reason why I think that the lawsuit is fake, and the reason why I think that's all nonsense to follow the lawsuit to an extent, is because I believe that Ripple is working with a lot of these central banks. I think that Ripple is working internally in the US as well. I think that a lot of what we are seeing around this lawsuit is, something to pump the brakes, slow things down, so that, the institutions, the major entities that are around the, entire monetary system could also catch up and, be able to utilize this technology. We also have a lot of things that are moving, so fast internally in crypto that, the outside landscape is still very, very far behind, which is also why I say, like, a lot of these things will take a lot of time to morph into reality. As we look at DLT and as we look at cross-border payments, we look at trade finance, we look at tokenization of real estate and so many other asset classes, like, we're seeing this going full force. And although, sometimes we can kind of get caught up in things and think like things are going to happen overnight, things are going to happen extremely fast, which I've thought like that in the past. I've talked about, Ripple and XRP being adopted overnight and how we could essentially see XRP surge overnight. But ultimately, when you take a step back and you look at, the evolution of finance and you look at the evolution of the financial system, like, a lot of this is going to take some time. We have no regulations around crypto. I mean, whether or not you want to think that there's regulations here, there really isn't. We do see, the entity-focused regulatory paradigm is under pressure in the world of DLT-based payment arrangements, where some ledgers and thus the performance of the services as such are distributed. DLT arrangements could provide an alternative to the traditional reliance on a mutually trusted central entity to transfer funds and enable the creation of new foundational infrastructures by distributing technical functions or linking existing systems. As such, we identify and outline concepts for use where DLT is potentially improving the efficiency of cross-border payments, namely a best execution DLT, a DLT platform or application for a network of central banks, a DLT as an AML/KYC utility, as well as a DLT arrangements for an identity platform, a small payments platform, and finally an interoperability platform connecting multiple closed loop and proprietary banking systems. Like, this is what we are seeing the evolution of right now, where it's going to disrupt everyday life. Every individual will be disrupted by DLT. the big issue here is that, to get to this point, there's a lot of obstacles. There's regulatory issues. I think that we need to have a harmonized approach to regulations, and that's going to take a lot of time. So I would argue like within the next 5 to 10 years, and I know that you guys hate me saying 5 to 10 years, it's me being conservative on a time frame. I know that Johnny Deaton and a few other individuals think that by 2025 we could see regulations. I don't know when we will. I can't make a prediction on it because it's unknowing on when we will have regulations, but we need them. To think that we don't need them would be psychotic, but we need regulations, and we need to have a lot of things in place before things actually happen. But I will say within this document, what's crazy is that like they are mentioning a few things around this in terms of like the best execution DLT. Under DLT as a means to enhance payments efficiency, which is right under, so let me go up. This is right under DLT as a focal point for more efficient cross-border payments. And if we scroll down here, they first do mention introducing DLT as an infrastructure, which is very large. I do think that DLT could essentially be the infrastructure. In fact, that's my main thinking. That's my opinion, obviously. As we do look at this DLT as a means to enhance payment efficiency, the Financial Stability Board and the Committee on Capital Market Infrastructure identify 4 impediments to efficient cross-border payments: cost, lack of speed, limited access, and lack of transparency. Costs comprise transaction fees, account fees, compliance, FX, and liquidity costs, and fees along the payment chain, with charges for cross-border payments amounting up to 20 times those for domestic transactions. Some of these costs are related to legal matters on the front end. The know your customer and client onboarding roles and ongoing diligence processes to update clients' status later add to the cost. So there's a lot of problems here. There's a lot of costs associated with cross-border transactions, which we already know about. There's also a lack of speed, limited access, which is, impacts SMEs, which, by the way, what's crazy about this is like going all the way back to like 2017, 2018, Ripple had on their website a line of credit offering for SMEs because they wanted to bank SMEs because SMEs were getting turned down for capital. They weren't getting access. And ultimately what it cost was SMEs not really being able to transact within cross-border payments. It was a big issue. And of course, there's a lot of high barriers. There's a lot of obstacles here. But we also do see down here, like transparency is limited since cross-border payment data with volumes and fees are rarely published with names of parties and payment institutions. So again, there's like a lot of issues here that Ripple ultimately solves. And what's crazy about all of this is that they do mention Ripple. Check this out. So we do see central banks applying the 2020 IMF Transparency Code increasingly abandon aggregated data collection in favor of more granular reporting. However, additional efficiency gains could stem from integrating correspondent banks and closed-loop systems into one transparent payment architecture and infrastructure run and managed in the public interest. Enhancing cross-border payments is a multifaceted problem, acquiring a comprehensive approach, and DLT could be one way of addressing these inefficiencies. Employing distributed networks for that purpose is not new per se, and if you guys have been around for a while, or if you just know around payment technology, then you know about Hawala payment system. But you see relevant approaches include, for instance, the Hawala payment system dating back to the 700s that, beyond raising criticism due to its intransparency, is said to have inspired the Ripple DLT. And if you guys don't know what this means, so we do see over here, this was updated April 2023. This is from Investopedia. What is Hawala? Money transfer without money movement, transferring money internationally through a network of money lending brokers. Hawala is an informal method of transferring money without any physical money actually moving. It is described as a money transfer without money movement, or just simply trust. Hawala is used today as an alternative remittance channel that exists outside of traditional banking systems. Transactions between Hawala brokers are made without promissory notes because the system is heavily based on trust and the balancing of Hawala brokers' books. So yeah, like this is what Ripple essentially came from. I mean, like this is what they utilized initially on to inspire Ripple DLT. In fact, a closer look reveals that DLT comes with features that potentially assist in removing or lowering the 4 barriers just mentioned, which is what Ripple has focused on for so long. First, through DLT, any data stored on the ledger become very hard to delete, immutability. Second, DLT relies on the same software code stored and run on multiple ledgers simultaneously, ensuring technical synchronization of all servers participating in the ledger. Once the code has been designed, programmed, and implemented, full technical integration, including a built-in settlement mechanism, increases the speed of technical processing if the code is well programmed, and a sound governance mechanism ensures that code updates are properly managed. So again, like as we do look at DLT, like DLT could very well be the infrastructure of tomorrow, especially around cross-border payments, which we've talked about, XRP being the use case for cross-border payments for so long. Like this is a $156 trillion market, and I think that it could be very beneficial to have DLT ultimately disrupt it. And I think that XRP is not going to be the only asset to do so. But right now, as we currently speak, XRP is the only asset that has been, for the longest time being utilized within this space. And Ripple as a company has been expanding rapidly around cross-border payments and offering XRP exposure to a lot of those cross-border payment giants. So I think that XRP is the main one, especially around cross-border payments for B2B. And I talked about XLM more so for P2P. That's how I personally look at it anyways. But nonetheless, like this is exactly why, I have been looking into what Ripple has been doing even around CBDCs, because they are positioning, the CBDC platform for the infrastructure of a lot of these CBDCs. They are already working with a large amount of players. They're positioning XRP as the bridge currency for CBDCs, as you guys did see in this video, which I think is a very large use case in itself, because, it's the original idea. When I first got into the XRP space, it was back in, it was like around the end of 2017. I didn't get into XRP extremely early. I think like the first bag of XRP that I was buying was astronomically inflated. And then after doing a lot of research, I had a lot of ideas around XRP. Now, there was so much speculation on Twitter during 2018, 2019, 2020, even into 2021. And most of the individuals around the space thought that there was a lot of things happening overnight. We thought that ISO 20022 was going to change the value of XRP drastically. And, now today more than ever, we are, financially literate, and we are knowledge literate here around what XRP is. We know what Ripple is going to be doing with XRP. We know what Ripple is doing with DLT and crypto. And we know that, now it's more important to really kind of focus on the facts rather than speculate all day. Because again, speculation can drive you wild. Speculation can get you, thinking illogically and think oh, hey, well, I think that this could happen. I think that this is going to happen. I think a lot of this does take a lot of time. And I think that this proves it. These documents around the BIS and around the IMF and the World Bank and so many other major players out there, it proves that this is going to take some time. But you know what? It's going to be worth it, because, in 5 to 10 years, you can make a drastic amount of wealth. But I don't even think you're going to have to wait 5 to 10 years. I've said it many times, you might have to wait 5 to 10 years for, DLT and crypto itself to go to $20+ trillion in market cap. But we will have run-ups. We will have, times in this market where you make a ton of money. And on those run-ups, you need to be, taking your profits. You need to make sure that you are, booking profits. That way you could just load them onto the market later on. With XRP, I'm just going to be honest with you guys. I don't plan on selling XRP at all. I do have a trade bag of XRP, which I mentioned many times, and I do have a lot of buy orders at 20 to 30 cents on that bag. I don't know if they will hit, but if they do, then I'm going to be very, very happy in the long term. But for the most part, I am sitting here and I'm just looking at the future around, DLT and crypto, and it's everything that we've been talking about for so long. And it just kind of proves to you how long some things take around the space. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, to notifications on because more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord down in the description below. As you all have a beautiful day, or beautiful night, wherever you guys are on this beautiful world. This has been Nick. Peace out, guys.